This is going to be a quick introduction to the energy flow in an ecosystem. We're going to set up the basic pieces of the interaction within an ecosystem that we're going to call the flow of energy. Now, we're just going to introduce the basic pieces so that we can have the discussion of how energy flows within an ecosystem as a whole a little bit later on. The idea of trophic comes up a bunch. You'll see it as root parts of words, and really when you see trophic, you'll see that it means to feed or to eat. We might use it in something like trophic levels, and if you take that literally, there is a hierarchy or levels of feeding. And we will talk about trophic levels here at a later time, but again, hierarchy of feeding is what trophic levels are. Now, the basis and the foundation of all the trophic levels and of all this interaction and energy flow within an ecosystem hinges on you understanding what a producer is and what a consumer is and how they're different. To start off with the producers are a very important part of our ecosystem because they are the ones that derive their energy from sunlight. So they're able to take in the sunlight along with some carbon dioxide, and they're able to generate a molecule of glucose. Now, they use a process we call photosynthesis. Photosynthesis allows them to make their own energy. Now, because they do that, the name we give them are called autotrophs. So there's another name for producers, we call them autotrophs. Now again, there's our word troph. Troph meaning feeding, auto meaning self. They're self-feeding organisms. Now typically we think of these producers, as examples go, as plants, which is what they are. Now there's more producers in the world than plants, but these are pretty typical around us. The grasses, the flowers, the corn, the trees that are pictured here are all examples of producers. Now, how are they different than consumers? Consumers need to go out and consume things or eat things. So there are organisms that need to get their energy from eating other organisms. Because they do so, we call them heterotrophs. Again, troph means to eat. Hetero means something other than yourself, or the opposite of yourself. So hetero, the opposite of yourself, feeding. So again, you are going to go out and eat something else. Now, there's some different types of consumers that we deal with because not all consumers will eat the same things. So we call them different consumers. Now, you'll recognize some of these words from 7th and 6th grade science. Herbivores, carnivores, omnivores, decomposers, detritivores. Those are the kinds of consumers that we will see in biology. First one being carnivores, we think of these as our meat eaters, consumers that eat other consumers. And some examples would be things like the shark or the lion, the wolf, the owl. And those are typical carnivores that are just going to focus their energy, getting their energy from other consumers, specifically here in that are listed other animals. Herbivores are those consumers that eat just the producers. So their job is just to eat producers. They're very important, obviously, in our food chains because they're the ones that start the ball rolling from the producers. If we didn't have consumers that ate just producers, we'd be stuck with just having the plants growing and that energy not being transferred. So some examples of herbivores: the white-tailed deer, our Minnesota squirrels, the grasshopper. Maybe you go to the savannah and you see a zebra. They are also herbivores. Some omnivores. Omnivores are consumers that are kind of in between, have qualities of both the herbivores and the carnivores. Okay, so the omnivores are consumers that eat other consumers as well as producers. Now, the main example we give is humans. We as humans are omnivores, but so are raccoons and most birds, or a lot of birds, I should say, not most, but a lot of birds, like the red-breasted robin, and a lot of the bears are all omnivores, have the ability to eat plants as well as animals. And finally, the decomposers. Decomposers are those consumers that specialize in eating the things that just died. They are the ones that are going to break it down and recycle it. And the two typical examples that are given are fungus, such as our mushrooms, and then bacteria. So they're the ones that are going to wait until things die. And again, it can be anything that was once living that died. They are in charge of breaking it back down into its pieces, recycling it back to the earth, and then using up the energy. So that's what decomposers are all about. And those are the types of consumers. So hopefully now what you have is a good idea what a producer is, what a consumer is, and what their role is in terms of how this energy flow is going to work. And then the next discussion we'll have is how it all goes together.